Everyone thinks Iron Man dies first in Avengers. Doomsday. They're wrong. Based on industry chatter and leaked schedules, Marvel's been planting clues for months, and they all point to a different Avenger making the ultimate sacrifice. Not the armored Avenger, but the one hero Doom needs gone to succeed. Which Avenger do you think Doom will target first? Look, this isn't random speculation. We've got aligned reports from trusted industry sources, set observations from Atlanta Productions, and a pattern that becomes crystal clear once you see it. Industry chatter suggests the creative team behind this isn't just bringing back RDJ for shock value. They're playing chess, and the first move isn't what anyone expects. I'll prove it in the next 20 minutes. Here's what everyone's saying. Iron Man dies because it's poetic justice. RDJ returns as Doom, faces off against a Tony Stark variant, and eliminates his heroic counterpart. The ultimate Dark Mirror showdown, roll credits. It makes sense, right? The emotional weight, the meta-narrative of RDJ playing both hero and villain, the poetic irony of Tony Stark being destroyed by his own face. Industry reports suggest Marvel's been setting up this Tony versus Tony confrontation as the emotional centerpiece. The marketing practically writes itself. Robert Downey Jr. versus Robert Downey Jr., the man who started the MCU facing his darkest reflection. But here's the massive problem with this theory. Doom doesn't need Iron Man dead first. Think about it. Tony's brilliant, sure, but he's also predictable, ego-driven, easy to manipulate when his pride is involved. Based on established character patterns, Doom can use that arrogance. He doesn't need to eliminate it. The real threat to Doom's plan? It's not technological prowess, it's pure intelligence. Reed Richards dies first, not Iron Man, not Captain America, not even Spider-Man. The most intelligent man in the Marvel Universe gets taken out before he can figure out Doom's endgame. Here's why this makes perfect sense based on both comic precedent and MCU setup patterns. Reed Richards isn't just another hero joining the roster. He's the one person who consistently outsmarts Victor Von Doom. In the comics, in every adaptation, in every universe where they've clashed, Reed is Doom's intellectual equal, sometimes his superior. In the MCU, Pedro Pascal's Reed is being positioned as the scientific backbone of the new Avengers based on production reports. The strategist, the problem solver. Doom knows this, which is why Reed has to go first. Did you know Reed Richards has defeated Doom more times than any other hero in Marvel Comics? Based on current studio scheduling as of October 2024, Fantastic Four. First Steps is likely slated for July 2025. With Avengers Doomsday, following in May 2026. That's barely 10 months to establish Reed as a major player, then eliminate him for maximum impact. Marvel doesn't waste time or emotional investment. If they're fast-tracking Reed's introduction according to these production timelines, it's likely because his role in Doomsday is crucial for narrative reasons that require his early removal. Industry reports suggest Pascal has limited long-term MCU availability. The Mandalorian, The Last of Us, major film commitments. Pascal's schedule appears packed through 2027 according to entertainment trade publications. This creates the perfect storm. Bring in a major star, make maximum impact, then write him out before scheduling conflicts become problematic. That's likely strategic planning from Marvel's perspective. Here's where it gets interesting. In Secret Wars 2015, the storyline Doomsday is reportedly adapting. Doom wins early by stealing godlike power. But Reed survives and ultimately outthinks him, rebuilding reality with Molecule Man's help. That's confirmed comic canon. The MCU could invert this completely. Eliminate Reed in Act 1 so the Reed problem never happens. Remove the one mind capable of out-strategizing Doom before the real plan begins. It's speculative, but mathematically clean story logic. But it gets worse. If Doom removes the brains first, every other Avenger becomes predictable. Industry rumors suggest the Fantastic Four post-credits scene involves Doom and Franklin Richards, Reed and Sue's son. Without verified sources, this remains rumor territory. But it aligns with confirmed comic patterns where Doom exploits family connections. Doom doesn't want Franklin just for his reality-warping power. He wants Franklin as leverage against Reed, as bait for a trap that exploits Reed's greatest weakness, his love for his family. Picture this scenario, and I want you to really visualize it scene by scene. Reed's laboratory. He's analyzing multiversal data when he detects Franklin's energy signature. His son is alive, but trapped in a collapsing pocket dimension. Sue begs Reed not to go. She knows it's a trap. The whole team recognizes the obvious setup. But Reed's already calculating rescue scenarios. Because he's a father first and a genius second. Reed enters the pocket dimension. It's a maze of scientific puzzles, each one explicitly designed for his intellect. Doom's not just testing Reed's love, he's testing Reed's pride in his own genius. Reed solves puzzle after puzzle, getting closer to Franklin, not realizing each solution destabilizes the dimension further. Reed reaches Franklin just as the dimension collapses. He has enough energy to save his son or himself, not both. Reed makes the choice every parent would make. Franklin escapes. Reed doesn't. Sue Storm's scream of grief and rage as she realizes what happened. Doom's cold satisfaction. The first obstacle has been removed. No gloating, no monologue, just clinical efficiency. That's not just a death scene. That's a statement of intent. You establish Reed as the solution to the crisis, only to remove him before he can solve it. Classic dramatic irony that serves both narrative tension and practical production needs. If we're ranking threats to Doom's plan by intelligence rather than combat power, here's the speculative hit list. Reed Richards, primary target, multiversal science expertise. Tony Stark variants, secondary, technological innovation and strategic thinking. Doctor Strange, tertiary magical knowledge of dimensional threats. Shuri, quaternary Wakandan tech could disrupt Doom's systems. Each represents a different type of problem solving that could unravel Doom's carefully constructed plan. Reed's elimination makes everyone else easier to predict and counter. How would you react if the smartest hero dies first, leaving everyone else to figure it out? Based on comic precedent, Franklin Richards represents more than just Reed's son. He's a reality-warping Omega-level mutant who once created entire pocket universes during major crises. That's confirmed canon capability. But in the context of Doomsday, Franklin represents something else entirely. Reed's weakness. The one thing that can make the smartest man in the universe make an emotional decision instead of a logical one. Industry rumors about Franklin's MCU introduction remain unverified, but the emotional mathematics are sound. Doom doesn't just want Franklin's power. He wants to use Franklin to manipulate Reed into a situation where love overrides logic. And that's precisely what happens. Reed knows saving Franklin is a trap. He calculates the odds, runs the scenarios, understands that going after his son will likely result in his own death. But he goes anyway, because he's a father first. Reed Richards dying first doesn't just shock audiences. It reframes the entire conflict and sets up everything that follows. This isn't about heroes versus villains anymore. It's about survival versus extinction. Without Reed's intellect, the remaining heroes aren't trying to win. They're just trying to last long enough for someone else to figure it out. But there is no one else. Reed was someone else. The heroes realize they're not in a superhero movie anymore. They're in a horror film where the monster is smarter than they are. Doom doesn't just defeat them physically, he defeats them intellectually. Sue Storm becomes the leader of the Fantastic Four, but she's driven by vengeance now. She makes darker choices, takes bigger risks. The remaining heroes have to accept Doom's solutions because they can't create their own. Secret Wars becomes less about defeating Doom and more about surviving his new reality. Battleworld isn't just a setting, it's a prison designed by the smartest villain in the multiverse. And when the dust settles, when reality is restored, Reed Richards stays dead. Because some sacrifices are permanent. Some losses can't be undone. That's the price of stopping Doom. The heroes win, but they lose the one person who could have found a better way. Picture Sue Storm holding Reed's body, Franklin crying for his father, Johnny Storm's flames flickering out in shock, Ben Grimm's rocky exterior cracking with grief. The Fantastic Four were broken before they ever really began. Then cut to Doom, emotionless behind his mask. The first obstacle has been removed. That's not just a death scene. That's a masterclass in villain efficiency. Doom isn't playing by superhero rules anymore, and neither is Marvel. This death tells the audience that intelligence, heroism, and good intentions aren't enough. That sometimes the smartest person in the room still loses. That's terrifying in a way that Iron Man's heroic sacrifice never could be. So yeah, everyone expects Iron Man to die first. The armored hero facing his dark reflection in the ultimate showdown. But everything builds toward a different tragedy. The brilliant scientist who could have saved everyone dies because he loved his family too much to think clearly. All the evidence points to Reed Richards first, and the multiverse's best hope dies with him. That's not just a plot twist, that's a masterpiece of misdirection. Marvel's trained us to expect the tech hero's sacrifice, the armored Avengers' final stand, the poetic justice of Tony versus Tony. They haven't trained us to expect the father's choice, the scientist's miscalculation, the genius's fatal flaw. What do you think? Does everything point to Reed Richards dying first in Doomsday? Or am I completely wrong about Marvel's plan? Are you ready for the smartest hero to make the dumbest choice? Can the MCU survive without its greatest scientific mind? Drop your theories in the comments. Tell me which death would hit you harder, Iron Man's heroic sacrifice or Reed's tragic miscalculation? Hit that subscribe button if you want more deep dives like this, because Doomsday is coming, and based on everything we're seeing, nobody's prepared for what Marvel's really planning. And remember, in the multiverse, anyone can die. Even the heroes we just met, even the ones who should know better. The question isn't whether heroes will die in Doomsday. The question is, which death will hurt the most? I just showed you why it builds toward Reed Richards first.